Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedom and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country. In the courtrooms of America, Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedom.
A federal judge in New York has allowed a case against the HHS mandate to go forward. Hi, I'm Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel. Today we're going to be talking about the Obamacare cases and Liberty University versus Geithner. Joining me is Matt Barber, vice president of Liberty Counsel Action. Matt, this is a case out of New York. Federal Judge Kogan ruled that a challenge by the Archdiocese there in New York is allowed to move forward. This was at a motion to dismiss level, so he didn't dismiss it. The government was wanting it to be dismissed. It appears that they were wanting it to be dismissed because maybe they're saying that, in fact, this doesn't apply to them yet, or the rules that they're challenging are interim rules and they're not final rules. Bottom line, though, is that what the judge ultimately said is that the First Amendment does not require citizens to accept assurances from the government that if the government later determines it has made a misstep, it will take ameliorative action. There is no trust us, changes are coming clause in the Constitution. That's kind of a good response. That's what he was being told. Yes, don't worry, the government will do the right thing. They might change their mind. They might change the regulations. This suit should not go forward. The judge says, no, I'm not going to buy that. This case can indeed go forward.
And you couple that with an Eighth Circuit decision with a 3-judge panel putting the HHS mandate actually on hold. Ultimately we know that this is going to end up in front of the United States Supreme Court. But it seems to be there's a preponderance, a growing number of courts that are looking at this and saying what we've been saying all along, that this HHS mandate is a gross violation of conscience, perhaps the worst we've seen in our lifetime from a president who apparently just thinks that he can arbitrarily dictate from the Oval Office, and there's a name for people who dictate arbitrarily, and he's acting like a dictator. But this HHS mandate to compel Catholic organizations, Christian organizations like Liberty University, Matt, to be complicit in abortion homicide is unconscionable, and so it's going to work its way through the courts. But for me, what's more frightening is that President Obama even has the audacity to think that he can even do this.
Yeah, and the judge also wrote here when the government was arguing that they should not allow this case to go forward, just put it off and see what happens. The judge said that the First Amendment is really being implicable here. It says, ignoring the speeding train that is coming towards plaintiffs in the hope that it will stop might well be inconsistent with the fiduciary duties that plaintiffs, directors, or officers owe to their members. They can't just simply say, well, the government says just trust us. We're going to take care of this maybe in the future, so we're not going to act. That's essentially what the government's argument is. The government is trying to make all kinds of arguments to undermine these lawsuits. Liberty University, of course, is a case that we represent, Liberty University versus Geithner. Liberty Counsel filed the very first private lawsuit in the country on March 23, 2010. Along with the state of Virginia and also Florida. Those were the 3 lawsuits that were first filed. And back then we argued that this was coming. Some people said, no, it's not. It's just hypothetical. No, we said, this is what the law says. This is what the law allows. This forced abortion is coming. Now what has happened is the Supreme Court of the United States actually reversed itself with regards to our decision and allowed our case to move forward again at the Court of Appeals. It was pending at the U.S. Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has now directed it to go back to the Court of Appeals in Richmond. We're waiting on the briefing schedule. We should get that pretty soon, and we'll probably have a short window in terms of time to brief this case. But our argument is against the entire employer mandate, and also if that were to be upheld, then it violates the free exercise of religion by virtue of the forced funding of abortion, as well as the individual mandate forcing individuals to pay a fee for abortion.
Well, the reality is that the cases against specifically the HHS mandate as it relates to abortifacients, sterilization, and birth control, those are really paper cuts to the larger Obamacare monster, even if those cases are successful. Really, the last arrow in the quiver to take down the Obamacare monster is our case, is Liberty Counsel's case representing Liberty University. It's the last best hope. And here's what's scary, Matt, with this. They're just biding their time politically. For them to the HHS mandate was putting their foot in the waters. Obamacare says essentially that any services can be the Secretary of Health and Human Services, Kathleen Sebelius, a radical pro-abort. It says, as the Secretary shall deem necessary. That's the language in Obamacare to say that she can arbitrarily say any service is necessary through taxpayer funding. That includes just all the charade off. It is going to happen in a matter of months, I believe, to a year or two, that the Obamacare will unequivocally force everyone to fund abortion with taxpayer dollars.
I was just recently speaking to a group of high school seniors at their public school about Obamacare, and they're studying this in their government class. And I said, under this particular law, there's one person, the Secretary of Health and Human Services, Kathleen Sebelius, who that person is now, and with a stroke of a pen, she can wake up one morning and say, I'm changing the rules. And we're going to require this particular kind of coverage as opposed to that particular kind of coverage, and put that as a template across the country. I mean, that is so arbitrary that one person has that kind of power and authority to literally change the health insurance rules for every single American in this country.
It's frightening is what it is. It removes all checks and balances. It gives really a tyrannical power to one individual, to the executive branch. And Matt, who's to say there are already the transgender movement is already lobbying to have full taxpayer funded so-called sex change cosmetic surgeries paid for these disturbed individuals. And, abortion, no question about it. So it is really scary to think that we have people controlling what will and will not be covered under Obamacare.
Well, here's one of the absurdities under this. One of the people that has been working with me for over 20 years went in for some eye surgery for cataract issues where the lenses on both eyes were getting cloudy. Well, under the Obamacare, you have to have a physical within 30 days of a surgery for this particular surgery. She already had a physical maybe 6 weeks before this. She already had her annual physical. So she had to now go and get a second physical, but she had to have surgery on one eye, and then she was going to have surgery on the next eye, but you have to wait for the one eye to heal before you have surgery on the next eye. So that's a couple of weeks in between. Then by the time she gets surgery on the next eye, they had to schedule that within 30 days of this second physical. Otherwise, if the surgery was scheduled on the 31st day after that second physical, she'd have to wait and get a third physical.
Three physicals within 2 months or so. Yeah,
that's right. Fortunately, they were able to just squeak in the second eye before the second 30-day window for that second physical ran out. But if Liberty or some other employer said one physical is fine, two physicals, that's too much in 6 weeks. 3 physicals, we're just not going to cover the third physical in, a 2.5-month period. What would happen is, say for Liberty University, we have around 10,000 lives that are covered with dependents. That's a $3,000 fine for every one of those. That's $3 million because one person would not be covered for this third physical in 2.5 months. And that's how absurd this is. It has nothing to do with the quality of health care.
It's a little more odious than that. Think about what's happening with the National Health Services in Great Britain. Now sick babies are being placed on death pathways in order for cost-cutting measures. They're not giving them service. They're starving to death and dehydrating little babies in order to kill them rather than treating them. That's what these socialized medicine, that's the end game that we're looking at.
That's part of the so-called complete lives theory that was built into this Obamacare by Rahm Emanuel, Dr.
brother.
Emanuel, the brother of Rahm Emanuel, and that you put your health care dollars in between ages 14 and 40. Between 0 and 13, you can ration that. Between 41 and whatever, you ration that. 13, 14, and 40 is where you put your health care dollars. So the death panels that Sarah Palin talked about, she was ridiculed. She was right. Go to Liberty Counsel's website, lc.org. Continue to follow us on this Liberty University versus Geithner case. The Supreme Court stunned the country, breathed new life into our challenge with regards to Obamacare. We'll be back before the Court of Appeals in 2013. This case could ultimately be a big torpedo to this Obamacare ship. And we might be back before the Supreme Court on this issue in 2013 as well. Go to Liberty Counsel's website, lc.org. Go to our page of information, and you can download our Naughty and Nice list right there on the website. Click on the I Love Christmas bumper stickers button right there on the front page. You can also sign up for the Liberty Alert and other emails. And remember Liberty Counsel at this time with your year-end contributions to help support the Ministry of Liberty Counsel. That's lc.org.
You have been listening to Faith and Freedom with Liberty Counsel. We hope that we have motivated you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedom. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email updates. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.